Movies are a favorite pastime of many people, and sometimes the people who make them are just as fascinating. One of these extraordinary filmmakers is Agnès Varda. She was an innovator and had a unique sensibility for making movies that were at times poetic, funny, and sometimes sad. Today, I will inform you about Agnès Varda, first by looking at her early life. Second, we will look at her experimental filmmaking style. And finally, we'll examine the subjects and issues at the heart of her movies. First, let's take a look at Agnès Varda's early life. She was born in Belgium in 1928 and moved to France as a teenager. She studied art history and photography in Paris. Afterwards, she worked as a photographer for 10 years at the French National Theatre. She made her first movie during this time, despite not having any filmmaking training. It was called La Pointe Courte, came out in 1952. It broke conventional filmmaking rules in every way. When people talk about Agnès Varda, they often refer to her in the context of the French New Wave movement, of which she was the only female director. It was a film movement in the 50s and 60s that challenged traditional filmmaking. Its movies were experimental and naturalistic. They were more about capturing real life and at times about questioning it. Agnès Varda made her second film, Cleo from 5 to 7, at the height of this movement. She befriended many French New Wave filmmakers, and she married Jacques Demy, who's a famous actor. In fact, she ended up making 3 movies about the love of her life, Jacques, after he passed. Although she was connected with the New Wave in some ways, Agnes's own filmmaking path depended solely on her spirit and her unique approach to making movies. This becomes more evident when we look at her filmmaking style. Second, let's examine Agnès Varda's experimental and imaginative filmmaking style. It's what made her movies so unique. Agnès changed her approach to filmmaking depending on the subject of her movies. She really thought about what was the best way to tell a story. In her film Cleo, from 5 to 7, we follow the protagonist, who is a woman waiting nervously for medical results, and this story is told in real time. Agnès Varda's film, Le Bonheur, or in English it means happiness. This film is told in a deceptively warm and cheery manner, even though the subject is actually rather dark. It's about infidelity and entitlement, but it's approached in an ironic manner. In her 2008 film, The Beaches of Agnès Varda reflects on her life using a medley of reenactments, photos, video clips, and more. She tells reporter Adam Scott, "I wanted to be like a bird. I wanted to be free in my memory, to go from one part to another and see what I would find." Agnès Varda's movies feature a lot of surreal imagery, such as this cutout of a cat, which makes comments throughout the film, or this larger-than-life wheat paste on a rock on a beach from Agnès Varda's movie Faces Places. Agnès Varda also used a lot of practical effects that were very self-aware and poetic. She really liked to use visual puns in her movies. Lastly, we're going to take a look at some common themes and subjects in Agnès Varda's work. Agnès Varda really liked having real people at the center of her movies. She shot a movie about the Black Panthers. She made another movie about her friend and actress Jane Birkin. In another one of her movies called Daguerreotypes, we have just regular people at the center. Agnès Varda shot her neighbors and the business owners who worked on her street, on the street that she lived in. Agnès Varda also cared deeply about feminist issues ever since she was in the French New Wave, which she always felt was a sort of men's club. She made a movie, seen right here, called One Sings and the Other Doesn't, that addresses the complexity around female stereotypes, prejudices, and struggles. Agnès Varda passed away on March 29, 2019, a couple of months from her 90th birthday. She was an active filmmaker until the very end, having made her last movie in early 2019. How many other filmmakers or artists in any field continue to be leading innovators at the age of 90? Agnès Varda was playful, wildly creative, and a compassionate person who made unforgettable films. Thank you.